In this video, I'm going to share with you how I accidentally made over $8 million from a very weird business. Okay, sorry, I just wanted an excuse to use my money gun. The truth is, I never actually set out to make over $8 million in business and never would have thought that was even possible. I'm from a 9,000 person town in Wisconsin and I never knew anyone who made money like that. I also thought my business niche for this weird business was way too small and would never have the opportunity to make that much money. In this video, I'm going to share with you how it all happened and why you don't need a massive audience or a mainstream niche to build a wildly profitable business. And guys, I don't have one screenshot of the $8 million in revenue I've made since 2014 with this weird business that I'm going to share with you. And obviously that's because we use multiple accounts to bring in money. What I do have is we have two different ClickFunnels awards here, two different system awards here. I also share all the screenshots in the beginning of every single video when I talk about digital products and how much sales I made. Those are taken from our system account. And again, that's just one of our accounts that brings in money. So I just want to be real with you guys. This money is revenue since 2014. So no, it is not money in my pocket, but a good chunk of that money was profit over the years. Okay, so let's talk about how this all came to be, because obviously I did not start a business to make $8 million. Again, didn't know that was possible. At the time, I had a photography studio and I was doing coaching and workshops for photographers as well. I absolutely love helping business owners, but I found myself just trading more of my time for money, doing things like workshops and coaching, and I was already busy with my photo studio. I don't know about you, but I wanted something that was more scalable, something that could make me money even when I wasn't directly working or on a call. So I decided to take that same information that I was teaching in those workshops and coaching and put them into digital products. I figured this would be a good side hustle that once I build it out, I would be able to make consistent sales and it would just be like good extra income, right? And it's true, it did make good consistent sales, but not to the tune of a few extra $1,000 a month, more to the tune of $8 million in revenue from 2014 to 2020. So again, I was a photographer, also doing workshops and coaching, burnt out, sick of trading my time for money, decided to create digital products to help photographers using the info I was already putting in this coaching and workshops and put those into digital products and make those for sale. Now you might be thinking, okay, well, photography, not a weird niche, loser. I'm clicking out of this video. I have no idea. Okay. I have no idea what you're thinking, but maybe it's something as funny as that. Now, yes, it's true. I was in the photography niche, but I was actually in a niche within a niche within a niche. Okay. Is a niche within, like hobbies or business, right? But then within hobbies and business is photography. And within photography was boudoir photography. That is actually the niche. Boudoir photography was actually the weird niche that made me the $8 million in revenue. Now, most of you might not even know what boudoir photography is. Okay. And you might be thinking it's something way crazier than it actually is. Think of a Victoria's Secret photo shoot for any woman, okay? Think of a Victoria's Secret's ad. It's kind of like that, but for anyone who wants to book their own photo shoot. Now, most people would think, oh, well, they're doing the photo shoot for their significant other. Some people might say that that's why they book the shoot, but most people book the shoot because they want to be able to see themselves in a different light, to feel the most confident they've ever felt, to be able to get dolled up and really get in touch with their intimate side. So yeah, it's kind of a weird niche. And it's also a very small niche within a niche within a niche, right? And so I get people saying to me all the time, well, my niche isn't big enough. And I'm like, boudoir photography, $8 million. And a lot of times I would join different business masterminds or programs and they just didn't get it. Okay. They did not get it. In fact, they would be like, you should change your niche. You should do this. You should do that. But then when I told them how much money I was making and the size of my email list, they were like, oh. Like they just didn't get it. Okay. So if you're someone watching this and you have a weird niche and people don't get it, tell them to F off in your head. Okay. Tell them to F off. You keep doing what you're doing because you know what you're doing is helping people. You know what you're doing is awesome. Don't listen to the naysayers. Don't listen to the people who don't get it. Okay. There are a ton of businesses out there that have now sold for like millions and millions of dollars that people once didn't get. Okay. If you look at Spanx with Sarah Blakely, who sold for, I don't know, probably hundreds of millions. I think she sold Spanx for. And people didn't get it, like especially men, they didn't get it. They're like, people don't need this, right? And now look at her. So yes, you can make money from weird niches and only you know how powerful it is, how many people need help with that thing. But I will say this, there was proof in the market. There already were a couple other boudoir educators who were educating on boudoir photography and making great money with it. So yes, it was a weird niche. And yes, I was one of only a few in the beginning. There was already proof in the market and that is very important. Now, right now, my current business is actually a pretty pretty big niche. So I kind of want to take this time to talk a little bit about the pros and cons of having a small niche versus the pros and cons of having a bigger niche. Okay. So with my boudoir photography niche, it was smaller, but it was so much easier to write copy and messaging because I knew exactly who I was talking to. Like, who I was talking to was a Midwest girl with brown hair. Like, I'm not saying that on my messaging, obviously, but like, those are the people that would buy my stuff. They looked a lot like me. Like, we would go to the live events that I would host, and my husband would laugh because he's like, half the people here look just like you. And so a lot of times you do attract people that are really similar to you, but really it was a lot of Midwest girlies who were in small towns who were shaking things up with boudoir shoots. And that really was who my ideal client was. And it was so easy to hone in on that and write copy for that and know who I was speaking, know exactly who I was helping. Now with my current business, Freedom Creator, it's a bit harder because I'm helping people create and sell their own digital products with YouTube. Now that a lot of times can be Gen Z, can be millennial, can be Gen X, can be boomers, right? It can be anyone. It can be people who are retired and they want extra money. It can be people who want to leave their 9 to 5. It can be business owners like me who are tired of trading their time for money. Like, it can be a lot of different people. And so it makes it a lot harder to know exactly who you're speaking to, what your messaging should say. But on the other hand, you have a much larger market, right? So I'm able to have a product that is at a lower price because I know the volume is there. Whereas with my boudoir education, I chose to have a bit of a more expensive product because I knew that the market wasn't, nearly as big as my current market. However, I will say that what we did was at first we started marketing to existing boudoir photographers. Then eventually we started marketing to all photographers and saying, hey, you should shoot boudoir because you make this much money with it. And that worked really well too. So if you are in a small niche and you want to branch out, but you feel like you've tapped the market, just know there usually is a step broader and broader that you can keep going. So there really are pros and cons to both. I genuinely don't think one is like better than the other. If I had to pick one, I would honestly say to niche down because you can always broaden it as you go. But I think a lot of people will struggle if they start with something really broad with like what the messaging is and who to talk to. And that's the most important piece, is getting that product market fit so you can make those first sales. And if you want to learn my entire process for finding your own profitable digital product idea, growing your audience online, making your first sales, evergreening your sales for automated income, and of course, get your hands on my tools, scripts, and templates, go ahead and register your seat for my totally free on-demand training. It's the first link in the description below this video. Okay, so let's talk about how I accidentally made $8 million. Okay, so again, I didn't intend on making that kind of money. I had no idea, right? What I did was I set out to have a side income where I wasn't trading my time for money. And I had a lot of people that wanted my advice and help. And so I wanted to help them as well. And of course, get paid for it because I own a business. And so I started out thinking this was just a side thing, right? And then it started growing and growing and growing. And I started to meet other digital product sellers. And I started to meet people making tens of millions, hundreds of millions of dollars from digital products. I was like, whoa, like I had no idea that that was possible. And this was with my last business. So obviously with this business, I'm growing with YouTube, but with my last business, we grew with blogging and Pinterest. But the main thing remains the main thing, right? No matter where you're getting your traffic from, you always want to move your traffic where? To your email list. So I do want to share that, yes, this was a surprise and I accidentally made $8 million. Like I literally had no idea that was going to happen. But a big piece of that happened because of email marketing. So again, we would put out this social media content. We would have freebies that people would opt into to get onto our email list. And even with a niche as small as boudoir photography, we were able to grow an email list of over 80,000 people over those years. And then once people were on our email list, we were able to do promotions, automated emails, manual emails, newsletters, tell people about our podcast. Like there was unlimited things that we could do because now we had their email and we could reach them at any time. Whereas with social media, blogging and Pinterest, YouTube, you put content out, but not every single person's going to see it. You don't own it, things like that. And not to mention my favorite stat, which is email marketing makes 40 times more sales than social media alone. So if you're wondering how I accidentally made all that money, like girl, you got to get an email list. And if you want to learn my full process in addition to email marketing, how to find your own profitable digital product, how to make your first sales, how to evergreen it, even how to grow your following on YouTube, go ahead and snag your seat to my completely free training. It is the first link in the description below this video. Okay, so now let's talk about how to create digital products that actually sell. Like, what did I sell to make this $8 million? Like, how did it happen? What were the digital products about? What did they teach, right? Now, this was my first digital products business, so I made made a lot of mistakes. Okay. At one point I had over 100 different digital products, but I will tell you that there were 3 main digital products that did most of the selling. Number 1 was an ebook called Model Call that was $59. I talk about it in a lot of my videos because it was just one of the most educational experiences with digital products I've ever had. Number 2 was a course that I sold called Boudoir Marketing Camp. And number 3 was a high ticket certification for boudoir photographers. So let's talk about how I came up with the ideas for these digital products. Like, why did these actually sell, right? So my first one, the ebook, $59 Model Call, it was 13 pages. The reason it sold wasn't because it was 13 pages, wasn't because it was an ebook, wasn't even because it was called Model Call. It was because it helped photographers make more boudoir bookings, make more money, book more clients, right? And it showed them step by step how to do that, and it worked. And people would get great results, and they would post about them online, and they would share it with their friends, and it just sold like crazy. The takeaway here should be find out what people's biggest pain point is, solve it in your digital product, and of course, make a digital product that actually works, that's actually going to get people results. Because if they get results and they can get them quickly, which would be awesome, then they're going to post about that, share screenshots, tell their friends, and that is going to get you the best type of sales, word of mouth sales. Now, the second digital product that sold a lot was Boudoir Marketing Camp. Now, the reason this sold really well is, again, if you couldn't tell with Model Call, photographers wanted more bookings. That's also what Boudoir Marketing Camp helped with, was getting more bookings, but it taught all my other marketing strategies other than just Model Call, right? And so that one sold really well too. I believe it was around $997. And then we had our boudoir certification program, which started at like $3,000. I think over the years we kept raising the price. I think it ended at about $10,000. Now that product I learned a lot from an operations perspective, from a perspective of managing a sales team, hiring a sales team, doing high ticket sales. I know that's such a sexy buzzword right now, and all the high ticket bros out there are like,
no, you gotta do high ticket sales, high ticket sales.
I'm here to tell you, I don't think high ticket sales are a great digital product to start with at all. I definitely think you should start with something like a workshop or an ebook, make some sales quickly, and then move on to either a membership or a course. And someday down the line, you can add high ticket when you already have like a stable, consistent income from another product selling. But the thing is, and I had to learn this the hard way, if you want to sell big ticket dollar things, you have to give them a big ticket deliverable, right? Like if someone's paying you $10,000, they're going to expect to make more than $10,000, obviously, right? And you might think, oh, well, of course, Molly, right? But put yourself in those shoes. Now you're on the hook to get people these really big results for every single person that joins your program. And as you scale, it's just going to feel more and more stressful, and they're going to want coaching from you. They're going to want time with you. They're going to want these things from you, which no longer feels or becomes very passive income-y, right? Like if you're someone who just wants to make the most money possible, sure, go high ticket. Be my guest, okay? Come back to me in 5 years and tell me how much you love that. Sorry, but I have a little bit of shade towards high ticket. Okay. The second thing is if you're in this for like passive income and freedom, then create a passive digital product. Like high ticket coaching is not passive, right? You're literally doing coaching. And there really is no world where you can sell a $10,000, course that comes with no access to you. Like, I don't know, unless obviously you could have a team of coaches, but like there has to be people in their coaching in order to charge that much money. Like if you are in this for the freedom, the passive income, really go with a workshop, an ebook, a course, a membership, something like that. And then you can genuinely make money in your sleep. But I do want to stress that these digital products didn't sell because it was an ebook, because it was a course, because it was a certification. They sold because of the promise that came with the digital product. The first one, get more booking. The second one, get more bookings, but with different marketing strategies. The third one, well, it was Boudoir Marketing Camp and it turned into the certification. So it's kind of the same thing, but we transitioned it to a high ticket model, basically. So what I want you to take away from this is you really need to think about what your people need help with. What is the big promise that you can give them? Something that's actually sustainable, something that can actually be passive if you want freedom, which if you're on this channel, you probably do, and think about it that way. Now, thinking about it now, $8 million in sales later, and actually it's been well over $9 million in sales now because I have my new business. But all of that to say, I literally cannot believe that this all started with something like blogging. Which I wouldn't recommend today, okay, but I'm just reminiscing on my story here. Like I was a photographer doing coaching and workshops, tired of trading my time for money. I started building a following online. And, at the time it was blogging. Now it's YouTube, which is what I would recommend. But it's crazy to me that like I had this blog where I was just typing at a coffee shop, la la la. And then that turned into an ebook, turned into a course, turned into a certification, turned into $8 million in sales. Like what? Just, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Just never thought. Like, maybe you're lucky enough to be around people like that and see that in this industry, but like, I really wasn't. Like, I was living in a really small town in Wisconsin. I didn't have a lot of business owner friends. It wasn't until way later when I joined masterminds and things that I saw that this was possible. Like, I still remember, writing some emails on my laptop and sending them out and making like 50 grand in a weekend. Just crazy. Just crazy stuff. But here's what else I learned. There is no perfect viral moment, okay? There is no perfect moment to launch your product or to evergreen your product. Like, the perfect time is now. The perfect time would have been yesterday or 100 years ago, right? But the second best time is now. So it is really important to get started. I'm immensely thankful to my past self for getting started, for being delulu enough to think that I could start a blog and sell digital products, and then grateful to the people who actually bought them and read my blog. Like, crazy, crazy stuff. And I just love my career so much. I love being able to just yap on these YouTube videos and share my knowledge and my stories, what I've learned over the years, being able to help more people to see and realize the freedom that I have on my calendar, to be able to spend more time with their friends, their families, to work less in their trade time for money businesses or quit their 9-to-5s, do whatever it is that they want to do. And it is possible with digital products and YouTube. And it's so much fun too. And also, if you can find a way to make it fun, that's going to let you stay in it longer, make more money, and obviously have fun while you're doing it. Here, I'll give you an example. Stupid, right? Stupid. Like, somebody gifted me this, but it's amazing and it's fun and it helps me make sitting here recording a bunch of YouTube videos all the more fun. And whether you want to make $8 million in sales of your own, or you just want to make an extra 5 to 10K a month and you want to create and sell your own digital products with YouTube, don't forget to snag your seat for my free on-demand training. It's the first link in the description below this video. And now that you know my really weird business that made me over $8 million in sales over the years, you might be wanting the insight into the dark side of entrepreneurship that nobody wants to tell you about. But how do you do that? Well, it all starts with watching this video next here, because when you pair what you just learned with what's in this video, it's going to be way more powerful. See you in the next video.